Chapter 1. My wife wanted to be child-free, and to respect her choice, I voluntarily got a vasectomy. After the surgery, my wife refused to sleep with me, saying it was for my own good while I recovered. I was moved to tears. Then one night, I found her hiding in the bathroom, talking to another man. Our baby is only 2 months old. Of course, I'm not going to let him touch me. On Victoria Bell's birthday, I prepared a special candlelight dinner for her. I waited until late at night for her to return. Sorry, hubby, I was entertaining clients and it ran so late I forgot to tell you. Feeling sorry for how hard she worked, I couldn't bring myself to be upset with her. After diligently helping her get ready for bed, I took her hand. It's been half a year, do you think we can… To create a romantic atmosphere, I left my sentence unfinished, gently pulling her in by the waist for a kiss. But she didn't respond with the passion I expected. Instead, she gently pushed me away. I'm tired today. Maybe some other time. Seeing that she had already turned off the bedside lamp, I had no choice but to lie down, feeling dejected. Before we got married, Victoria told me she wanted to be child-free. So 6 months into our marriage, I voluntarily underwent a vasectomy. After the procedure, she said she was worried about me and wanted me to fully recover before we were intimate again. I was moved to tears, thinking she loved me so much that she was willing to live a celibate life for my sake. After 6 months of recovery, I thought tonight would finally be the night for our long-awaited intimacy. I never expected Victoria to reject me again. I began to doubt my own appeal and couldn't fall asleep for a long time. In the middle of the night, Victoria got up, called my name a few times, and when I didn't respond, she took her phone into the bathroom. I grew suspicious and pressed my ear to the bathroom door to listen. Baby, I loved the gift you gave me today. Don't worry, I haven't slept with Sincere. Our baby is only 2 months old. There's no way I'd let him touch me. After she finished her sweet phone call and returned to bed, a storm was raging inside me. Victoria and I had been together from our school days to our wedding day. I couldn't believe she would betray our relationship. It was Victoria who told me she didn't want children. But every word she just said told me she had a child with another man. I had actually wanted a child of our own, but I couldn't bear the thought of losing the woman I loved deeply over it. That's why I voluntarily had the vasectomy. I never imagined that the woman who insisted on being child-free was secretly pregnant with someone else's baby. An immense pain washed over me. It turned out Victoria didn't want to be child-free. She just didn't want to have my child. The heartache was suffocating, and my body turned ice cold, unable to move. Jealousy and anger erupted like a volcano, instantly filling my chest. Only after the person beside me had fallen into a deep sleep did I get up and desperately unlock her phone. Chapter 2. The chat history hadn't been deleted. I also knew the man she was cheating with. It was her secretary, Ethan Jones, because she had come home tonight. The man was very jealous. Baby, it's your birthday, and you're not spending the night with me. Is that pretty boy more important than me? You could have just told him you were on a business trip. He trusts you so much anyway. That time he caught me at your house. I just said I was delivering documents and he didn't suspect a thing. Victoria replied, Don't be jealous. To make sure I got pregnant with your child, I tricked him into getting a vasectomy. The thought of Sincere being a eunuch now just disgusts me. Who would want a eunuch? I promised Sincere he would always be my husband. That's what I owe him. But only you are the father of my child. There. Once the baby is 3 months along, you can come to my place, and I'll reward you just like last time. Tears fell from my eyes without me even realizing as I read the messages. On the bed, a sweet smile graced Victoria's sleeping face. Images of her and Ethan Jones tangled together on this very bed began to flood my mind. The wedding bed I had picked out myself had become their love nest. My trust and love for Victoria had turned me into the fool in their conversations. I felt nauseous, the pain in my chest making my whole body tremble. I got the vasectomy because I loved Victoria, but now it had become her tool to get pregnant with Ethan Jones's child. Letting me be her husband was just her way of repaying a debt. During the summer of my freshman year of college, we went to the beach. Victoria was almost swept away by the tide, and I risked my life to save her. She would have died in the ocean otherwise. What I thought was a deep love born in our youth turned out to be nothing more than this debt of gratitude. Amid the immense pain, I laughed out loud. 10 years of love evaporated in that single moment. I sat numbly until dawn, then I called my parents. "Mom, I want to divorce Victoria Bell. I had a huge falling out with my family over the vasectomy. Due to my physical constitution, the success rate for a reversal was very low. They were afraid that if I went through with it and Victoria later wanted a child, I would be abandoned. At the time, I believed our love was indestructible and dismissed their words. I never thought that just 6 months later, reality would hit me so hard in the face. My mom, Martha, cried, 'You can't have children anymore, and now you're divorcing her. What will you do with your future? Come home, son. Come back to us. Dad and I will try to live a few more years to be with you.' Hearing her words, a trace of warmth finally returned to my ice-cold body. I choked back a sob and replied, 'Okay.' After hanging up, I booked a flight home for 7 days later. Chapter 3. The next day, I had a lawyer draft a divorce agreement and decided to deliver it to Victoria's office in person. Sure enough, through the slightly ajar door, I saw her and Ethan Jones pressed intimately against each other. Ethan smiled as he rested his head on her stomach, then moved to kiss her. I pushed the door open, startling them. They quickly separated. A flash of panic crossed Victoria's face. "Hubby, Jones was just blowing a speck of dust out of my eye. Don't misunderstand." My expression was cold, unmoved by her words. Victoria's face turned awkward. Seeing this, Ethan stepped forward. "Mr. Smith, you should be more magnanimous. Manager Bell has worked so hard to build her career. You're not going to be so petty as to forbid any man from being near her, are you? What if she has to entertain a male client one day? Are you going to throw a fit then too? You're luckier than I am. You have a wonderful wife, like Manager Bell, and can just be a freeloader at home. If you can't support her, at least don't drag her down, okay? She really has it tough." He wore a facade of being understanding, but the sarcasm in his eyes was unmistakable. His words seemed to give Victoria a backbone. "Sincere Smith, if you want to cause a scene, do it at home. Don't embarrass me here." I let out a cold laugh. "Victoria Bell, you also think I'm a freeloader?" Ethan could never have imagined it. Every single piece of designer clothing Victoria wore, I bought it. After graduating from college, I started writing books and had achieved some success over the years. Even after quitting my day job, my income was still significantly higher than Victoria's, even with her management position. I covered all her living expenses, from her clothes and food to her housing, allowing her to live a comfortable life. At home, I felt for her difficult job, so I took care of all the housework, doing my best to look after her so she could rest, and in the end, I was being painted as a freeloader by her subordinate. Victoria finally realized something was wrong and tried to take my hand. "Hubby, what's wrong? There's really nothing between Jones and me. You're the one I love most. Are you going to doubt my love?" I shook her hand off and took out the divorce papers. "Let's get a divorce. Who you love from now on has nothing to do with me." Chapter 4. What nonsense are you talking about? Didn't we promise to be together forever? Victoria shook her head and tore the divorce agreement to shreds. She hugged me tightly. "I will never divorce you." Her embrace felt utterly disgusting to me. Her attitude was laughable. I was already letting her go to be with him, yet she was still putting on this act. I shoved her away and she stumbled back and fell to the floor. Ethan helped her up and swung a punch at my face. Useless freeloader, I had reached my limit. I kicked him hard in the stomach. Victoria screamed and held him with deep concern as he convulsed in pain. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with rage. "Sincere, you've gone too far. When Ethan had hit me just moments before, she hadn't said a word. She didn't care about the blood trickling from the corner of my mouth. She hadn't even realized how obvious her bias was. Seeing my expressionless face, devoid of any guilt, she grew even more disappointed. She raised her hand to slap me. I grabbed her wrist, meeting her gaze coldly. Ethan groaned beside us, and she quickly pulled her hand away from mine. She needed to take him to the hospital. Before leaving, she said only one thing to me. "Sincere Smith, you can't have children anymore. What woman other than me would ever want you?" I wiped the blood from my mouth, placed a new copy of the divorce agreement on her desk, and left. Victoria didn't come home that night. 6 days before I left, I smashed our wedding bed. 5 days before I left, I listed the house with a real estate agent. 4 days before I left, I packed up all her things and sent them away. 3 days before I left, I saw on Ethan's social media that he had accompanied Victoria to a prenatal checkup. 2 days before I left, I saw Ethan show off their matching rings. Ever since that day, all of Ethan's social media posts were visible to me. Victoria had liked every single one of them. I used to enjoy sharing snippets of my life on social media. She never once liked my posts. When I complained, she said I was being dramatic and that she just hated liking posts. It turned out she just didn't like the posts I shared, or rather, anything related to me. On the day I left, I dragged my luggage alone and took one last look at the house, the cozy little home I had personally decorated for Victoria and me. Soon, all traces of us would be erased, just like my love for her. Before the plane took off, I opened my social media one last time. I was greeted by an ultrasound photo shared by Ethan, along with a maternity photo of Victoria. The little baby is very healthy, just like his dad. I looked closely at the ultrasound photo, gave it a like, and then turned off my phone. The past and my old love vanished as the plane took off. Chapter 5. Victoria Bell didn't take my request for a divorce seriously at all. She didn't believe I would leave her. She thought that after being neglected for so long and seeing her with Ethan Jones, I was just trying to get her attention. She decided to use this as an opportunity to give me the silent treatment and spend time with Ethan. She was just waiting for me to beg her to come back. On the first day, she happily threw a party with friends to celebrate the baby and even did a maternity photo shoot. That night, she checked her phone but found no messages from me. On the second day, she had a business trip, but Ethan didn't pack her suitcase for her. When she arrived in the city, she realized she had forgotten a few things. She wanted to call and ask me to take a train to bring them to her, but was too proud. On the third day, she couldn't focus on work, staring at the silent chat window with growing unease. On the fourth day, Ethan accompanied her to a prenatal checkup. Watching him bustle about, she felt a mix of sweetness and pride. She could still be loved and cherished without me. It was always me who couldn't leave her. On the fifth day, Ethan suddenly proposed to her. Even though she couldn't marry him, she was moved and accepted the ring. On the sixth day, Ethan shared photos of her and the baby on his social media. She thought they were adorable and liked the post. That afternoon, she saw a new notification on her feed and instinctively clicked on it. She saw my name next to her like. Panicked, she immediately took leave from work and rushed back to our old home. On the way, she rehearsed what she would say 1,000 times. When she got to the door, she took out her key, but it wouldn't open. A huge wave of panic spread through her. She knocked on the door relentlessly. Finally, the door opened, but standing behind it was a stranger's face. "Who are you looking for?" Chapter 6. When the plane landed, I saw my parents, David and Martha, waving as soon as I walked out. My eyes instantly reddened. After being wronged out in the world, all I wanted was to go home and cry my heart out to my parents. I fought back the tears, smiled, and went home with them. They had already prepared everything, and the three of us spent over an hour bustling in the kitchen. The dining table was filled with all my favorite dishes, flavors I hadn't tasted in a long, long time. Victoria and I had different tastes, and when I was with her, I always put her first. The dining table would only ever feature her favorite foods, and Victoria, in our 10 years together, never once asked me what I liked to eat. Thinking back now, she never really loved me that much. When you love someone, you always want to give them the best, their favorite things. It was only ever me, a one-way street. After I got home, my parents never mentioned Victoria's name. We tacitly avoided the topic in our conversations, simply enjoying the warmth of our family reunion. But just as we finished dinner, Victoria called. "Sincere Smith, what do you mean you sold the house? That was our home, you sold our home." I replied calmly, "Didn't I tell you I wanted a divorce? Since we're getting divorced, there's no point in keeping the house. I sold my house. What does that have to do with you?" A few years ago, when we were buying the house, I wanted to add her name to the deed, but she refused. She said she wanted to preserve her first-time homebuyer status. Now, at least, it saved us from disputes over dividing assets. Divorce? "I don't agree," she cried over the phone. In the past, whenever she shed a tear, I would do anything to make her happy again, but my heart had grown cold towards her, and her crying didn't move me in the slightest. Is it because of that maternity photo? That was Ethan Jones's girlfriend's photo shoot. I just went with her and took one because I thought it looked nice. I laughed. Wasn't she Ethan Jones's girlfriend? She continued to question me. "Why were you so impulsive without asking for clarification? You've disappointed me so much." She was lying with such a flimsy excuse and then turning it around to blame me. It seemed that, in her eyes, I really was a big fool she could easily deceive. I didn't say anything, which she took as a sign of my regret. "Hubby, I forgive you. Just come back, and we can go back to how things were." I scoffed. You'd be better off using this time to look at the divorce agreement I gave you instead of putting on a show for me." She was silent for a long moment, then asked, sincere, "This sudden talk of divorce. Did you do something to betray me?" I was both furious and astounded by her shamelessness. Would it be less sudden if we waited until the baby in your belly was born to get a divorce? Chapter 7. Exposed, Victoria was speechless and hung up the phone in a panic. I started outlining a new novel at home. For the past 6 months of our marriage, I had been so happy I'd grown lazy. After the pain of Victoria's betrayal, I found a new motivation to create. The ideas flowed like a spring once I started writing. Unexpectedly, after half a month of silence, Victoria not only hadn't signed the divorce papers but also showed up at my parents' house with red-rimmed eyes. "Hubby, listen to me. I can explain." My cold gaze fell on her slightly swollen belly. She subconsciously protected her stomach, then looked at me with a pained expression under my mocking gaze. "I admit this baby wasn't an accident. I'm sorry. After you had the vasectomy, I regretted it. I started wanting a child, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you, since you did it for me." Left with no choice, I went to a clinic for IVF. My morning sickness was really bad, and I didn't know how to tell you. It just so happened that Ethan Jones's girlfriend was also pregnant, so he had experience, and that's why we got a bit closer. I watched her spin this web of lies with a smirk. Seeing the hint of a smile on my lips, she actually felt encouraged. "Hubby, I did IVF for us. You were willing to give up having children for me back then, so why can't you accept this child that I worked so hard to have now?" Amidst her pleading gaze, I finally spoke. "Was it that hard to get pregnant when you were having so much fun tumbling in our wedding bed with Ethan Jones?" "What?" The color drained from her face, but she struggled to maintain her composure. "Hubby, how could you accuse me of such a thing? I love you. Why would I sleep with someone else? You've misunderstood. Love me? Aren't I a eunuch? How could I possibly be worthy of your love?" I watched her coldly as she swayed on her feet. Hearing the word eunuch, Victoria looked as if she'd seen a ghost. "Out of respect for our 10 years together, I was going to leave you with a shred of dignity, but you refused it. If you don't sign the divorce agreement, then we'll have to go through legal proceedings. You know perfectly well who the father of the child in your belly is. No, I don't want a divorce." Suddenly, her expression changed, and she clutched her stomach, crying out in pain. Ethan rushed out from nowhere and held her. He roared at her, "Are you crazy? Coming here and risking my child's life?" Then he shot me a dark look. "Sincere Smith, if anything happens to my child, I will never let you go." He was completely different from the sunny, cheerful act he used to put on in front of Victoria. Victoria seemed too shocked by him to speak. She could only look at me with pleading eyes from his arms. I shut the door right in her face. I then filed for divorce with the court, wanting no more entanglement with Victoria. But the woman who once looked down on me now refused to let me go. Chapter 8. Now that I was unlikely to ever have children of my own, I poured all my love into the younger generation of my family. My cousin Jessica's daughter had just turned 1, and every time I held her, my heart melted. So I often looked after the baby when my cousin was busy. One day Jessica came over after she was done with work. After dinner, we went for a walk downstairs with my little niece in her stroller. "Hubby, are you so desperate for a child that you'd stoop to being with a divorced woman with a kid? If you can accept another woman's child, why can't you accept mine?" It was Victoria. She had lost a lot of weight. She looked at me holding my niece, her eyes filled with undisguised jealousy. I frowned. "What are you talking about? This is my cousin." She had met my cousin during the time we were planning our wedding, but she had no memory of her at all, which just proved how little she cared about me or anything related to me. When I loved her, I assumed she loved me just as deeply and never noticed these small details. Now that the love was gone, I saw signs of her indifference everywhere. It felt like our 10 years together had been a one-man show. After seeing my cousin and niece off, Victoria followed me all the way to my front door. When I finally looked at her, a hint of joy appeared on her face. "Hubby, I'm sorry. I only misunderstood because I care about you so much. I just found it laughable." My heart had died for her that night. She had said, time and again, that she only married me to repay a debt. Now I was letting her off the hook, and she was the one who refused to let go. To me, this clinging was nothing more than her unwillingness to accept defeat. She couldn't stand that the man who was once madly in love with her would dare to abandon her first. If she truly loved me, she wouldn't have risked hurting me by betraying me. She wouldn't have tricked me into a vasectomy only to turn around and mock me as a eunuch with her lover. She was pregnant with someone else's child, while I would likely never have a biological child of my own. The thought brought me immense pain. I would not be fooled by her again. Seeing that I remained silent, Victoria finally stopped talking. Finally, as if making a decision, she bit her lip. "Hubby, the baby is 3 months along now. Didn't you always want to be intimate?" As she spoke, she grabbed my hand and placed it on her chest. I quickly pulled it back, so angry I started to laugh. "Are you insane? What kind of person do you think I am, to make a move on a pregnant woman? What are you doing in broad daylight? Is this what Ethan Jones taught you? Besides, even if you stood naked in front of me right now, I wouldn't feel a thing." Her face turned pale, completely crushed by my words. Finally, she gave a bitter smile. "In the end, it's still about this baby. Do you need me to get rid of the baby before you'll forgive me? Why must you be so cruel to a child?" I replied coldly. "Why would I care about your child?" Chapter 9. When Victoria Bell returned to Ethan Jones's place, she found him sitting in the living room with a cold expression. "You went to see him again? Instead of resting at home, you're going to run around until you lose this baby, aren't you?" The subordinate, who was once so obedient, had lost his patience with her recently. Victoria assumed he was upset because of the baby, so she tried to soothe him with a few gentle words and didn't think much of it. It wasn't until she sat down at the dinner table and saw it was takeout again that she sighed inwardly. No matter how expensive the takeout, it never tasted as good as a home-cooked meal. The carefully prepared meals I used to cook for her had seemed ordinary to her. Only now that they were gone did she realize they weren't ordinary at all. Ethan, being several years younger, didn't have much of a nurturing instinct. He wouldn't wake up early to make her breakfast. He wouldn't give her a relaxing massage before bed. He wouldn't meticulously manage every aspect of her life. Victoria, who thought she could live perfectly well without me, was already feeling all sorts of discomfort after just over a month apart. It made her miss me terribly. Thinking of my cold attitude earlier that day, Victoria lost her appetite after a few bites of food. Seeing this, Ethan became upset again. "If you're not hungry, my baby is. Are you trying to starve it?" Not wanting to argue, Victoria forced herself to eat more. A bitter taste filled her mouth. In the past, even if she had ignored a full table of food I'd made and ordered takeout, I never got upset, as long as she was happy. After dinner, she took the initiative to clear the table. When Ethan came out after playing a game in his room, he flew into another rage. "Why didn't you wipe the table? Do you have to wait for me to do it? Are you that delicate?" This hurt her deeply. After getting together with me, she never had to lift a finger. On the rare occasion she hung up some laundry, I would praise her to the heavens. She never thought that taking the initiative to clear the table would earn her a scolding. Victoria burst into tears. The recent discomforts in her life, combined with her pregnancy symptoms, were directly affecting her work. Her boss had become increasingly dissatisfied with her. Many of her responsibilities had been handed over to Ethan. Her position in the company was precarious. If only Sincere were here, she thought. He would definitely take good care of me and the baby. Before bed, Ethan held her with a look of remorse. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you. It's all my fault. You can hit me. I'm just so jealous of Sincere Smith. Jealous of how much you care about him." Victoria quietly forgave him, her gaze darkening as she touched her belly, making a silent resolution. Chapter 10. After a fun 2 hours playing outside with my niece, I happily took her home. Unexpectedly, I saw a smiling Victoria Bell again. She acted as if nothing had happened, calling me hubby. "I've been looking at a house in our old neighborhood. If you like it, I'll buy it. You decorated the last house. This time you just rest and I'll oversee all the renovations." She followed me all the way. Helpless, I quickly went home and handed my niece to my parents. I turned to her and asked in a low voice, "What exactly do you want?" She ignored the anger on my face. "Hubby, you've had your tantrum. It's time to come home with me. You like children so much, don't you? I've already consulted with several doctors. When we go back, I'll go with you for the reversal surgery. Once I give birth to our baby, you won't have to look at other people's children so enviously." When I first went for the vasectomy, the doctor warned me that due to my unique physical constitution, the probability of a successful reversal was very low. Victoria hadn't hesitated, saying she only wanted a life with me, without the disruption of children. That was what solidified my decision to go through with it. At that time, no matter how much I liked children, I only wanted one with her. If she didn't want one, then neither did I. Knowing all this, for her to come to me now talking about a reversal surgery, I couldn't think of anything more ridiculous. Didn't you say that only Ethan Jones could be the father of your child? You know the success rate for my reversal is low. Are you planning to trick me into coming back, then get pregnant with Ethan's child again, and claim it's mine? Those were her own words, and now Victoria was on the verge of tears. I really know I was wrong. There will be no more Ethan Jones between us. I've really changed. I looked at her stomach. Changed? Can the baby in your belly be changed? Chapter 11. Hearing this, a look of joy flashed in her eyes. Does this mean that if I get rid of this child, you'll forgive me? Don't worry, I already had an abortion before I came here. I'm willing to do anything for you. She expected me to be incredibly moved by her actions. In reality, I was just shocked by her cruelty. Her own child. Just to win me back, she got rid of it without a second thought. I felt as if I had never known her at all. The Victoria Bell I used to know was kind and a little stubborn, nothing like the person standing before me now. The one who broke my heart, who made me hurt so much I almost couldn't go on, was never that child. It was you, Victoria Bell. Does getting rid of the baby erase the fact that you cheated? Does it erase the fact that you tricked me into a vasectomy for another man and then mocked me for being a powerless eunuch? Victoria, you don't know this, but that night, when I saw those chat messages on your phone that shattered years of my love, I honestly thought about dying. At that moment, I would have rather died than believe you would do that to me. Isn't it laughable? I even thought about using my death to make you feel a lifetime of regret, to make you suffer. But then I realized you weren't worth it. In that one instant, both the love and the hate disappeared. Victoria Bell, you are not worthy of my love, not worthy of my hate, and certainly not worthy of me dying for you. I have my pride and my dignity. I am not your dog that comes running back whenever you call. There is no longer any possibility between us. No matter how much you refuse the court summons, you can't change the fact that I am divorcing you. After saying all this in one breath, the gloom that had been weighing on me instantly vanished. I looked at Victoria with neither joy nor sorrow. I'll just consider these past 10 years a dream. Now, I'm awake. Her face was filled with despair and pain. I'm begging you, give me one more chance. I shook my head resolutely. The more you pester me, the more annoyed I'll become. Leave yourself some dignity. Chapter 12. After it became clear that a reconciliation was impossible, Victoria, who had disappeared for another month, chose to agree to an out-of-court settlement. Once the papers were signed, my marital relationship with her was officially over. Victoria stared at me the whole time, hoping for even a single glance. But I treated her with the polite distance one would show a stranger. In the end, she could only leave in disappointment. My life returned to peace. Until one day my phone was suddenly flooded with abusive text messages. Freeloader, you made your ex-wife have a miscarriage. Have you no shame? You can't have kids, so you won't let anyone else have them. You should die, just go die already. In your next life, you'll be a pig. You don't deserve to be human. All kinds of curses filled my screen. I was so angry I could barely breathe. With trembling hands, I called a few of the numbers back. From their shouts, I learned that I had been exposed online. In the article, I was an impotent freeloader. I had hidden my infertility to trick her into marriage, and after we were married, I refused to grant her a divorce. The story claimed that only when Victoria found her own happiness and finally got pregnant did I force her to have a miscarriage before agreeing to the divorce. Although names were hidden throughout the article, my phone number was left uncensored in a screenshot of a chat log. As a result, I was being massively cyberbullied. I never thought Victoria would twist the truth like this, smearing my name without any regard for the facts. Furious, I unblocked Victoria's number and called her. Her cheerful voice came through almost immediately. "Hubby, have you had a change of heart?" I took a deep breath. "Take down what you posted online." Victoria sounded confused. "I haven't posted anything online. Are you mistaken?" She didn't sound like she was lying. I had to send her a link to the online post. The entire post was filled with rage over Victoria losing her child. I couldn't think of anyone else who would write it. But Victoria did. It was Ethan Jones. I immediately called the police. The post had a huge number of views. When Ethan was brought to the police station, he quickly confessed everything. It was only then that we learned he really did have a girlfriend, just as Victoria had claimed in her lie. Chapter 13. His girlfriend was infertile, so he set his sights on Victoria. He wanted to use her as a surrogate. With just a few simple tricks, Victoria took the bait. After Victoria became pregnant, he deliberately exposed himself to me, causing the conflict that led to our divorce. Then he used that opportunity to take Victoria into his home to take care of her. His plan was to then coax Victoria into quitting her job to focus on the pregnancy. He knew how well I had treated Victoria, so he deliberately treated her poorly, making the already reluctant to divorce Victoria lean even more towards me, hoping for a reconciliation. Once the baby was born, he would have become even crueler, forcing Victoria to give up the child and go back to pestering me. That way, he and his girlfriend would have a child, and they would be free of Victoria. But he never expected Victoria to get an abortion behind his back. By the time he found out, the child he had longed for was gone. He hated Victoria for it, and he hated me for not giving Victoria the slightest bit of hope that would have made her keep the child. So he decided to get revenge on me by posting that emotional, sensational article online to incite a mob against me. Ethan stared venomously at Victoria. "You bitch, you killed my child. You should just die learning the truth." Victoria felt a chill run down her spine, as if she'd been plunged into an icy cavern. She screamed at Ethan, "You schemed against me. You made me lose the person who loved me most in the world." She collapsed on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. She pitifully grabbed the corner of my shirt. "Abby, you heard him. I was set up. I'm a victim too. Please forgive me." I shook my head firmly. If she hadn't given him an opening, he never could have schemed against her. Ethan's plot was vicious, but Victoria was even more cruel. I had cherished her for 10 years, yet for a man with ulterior motives, she didn't hesitate. Even knowing my vasectomy reversal would be difficult, she tricked me into getting it done without a shred of compassion. She was the one who brought Ethan back to our home time and again for her thrills. She was the one who called me a eunuch. Someone who betrays true love ends up as prey in someone else's scheme. Victoria was not wrong to end up like this. If she had shown even a sliver of genuine love for me, we would never have reached this point. This was the ending she deserved. I pried her fingers off my clothes one by one. Looking into her tear-filled eyes, I said, word by word, "I will never, ever forgive you." Chapter 14. Ethan Jones was detained for a few days and made a public apology to me on his account. My name was cleared. He became the new target of the cyberbullying. After that day, Victoria finally understood my resolve. She stopped bothering me, and I began my new life. 3 years later, my alma mater held an alumni reunion. I arranged to meet up with a few old friends to attend. Seeing the renovated athletic field, I remembered it was here that I fell in love with Victoria at first sight. More than a decade had passed, so much had changed. I smiled, having long since made peace with the past. When I turned around, I saw Victoria standing behind me in a red dress, exactly like she looked back then. A smile played on her lips. "Hi there, can you tell me your name?" This was the first thing I had ever mustered the courage to say to her during the bloom of our youth. Victoria walked over to us. "Sincere, this is where we started. Let's have a new beginning here, okay? You were the one chasing me before. This time, let me chase you. No matter how long it takes, I'll wait for you to say yes." She confessed her feelings to me with deep emotion. I took an awkward step back. I looked past her. "Honey, you're back already." A stunned Victoria turned to see a woman with a radiant smile holding several pins. "Your juniors are so thoughtful. These pins they designed are so cute. I had to sweet-talk them just to get a few." My wife proudly showed me the pins, then looked curiously at Victoria. I quickly made the introduction. "This is my ex-wife. When my wife and I first got together, I had been completely honest with her about my past." Hearing this, she smiled and greeted Victoria. "Oh, I see. It's a pleasure to meet you." Victoria looked wounded. She took a step back, her eyes turning red as she looked at me. "Sincere, tell me this isn't real. Aren't you?" How could she accept that? Does she not know? Seeing how agitated she was, I pulled my wife closer to protect her. "My wife is 4 months pregnant. I hope you will stop disturbing my life. 3 years ago, at my parents' urging, I underwent the reversal surgery, though I didn't have high hopes. Perhaps fate took pity on me. After a few procedures, the doctor said I had recovered quite well. Once I was in good health, I started dating and met my current wife. She is enthusiastic and cheerful, and we get along perfectly. After getting together with her, I spent countless days and nights thanking heaven for letting me meet her and grasp happiness in this lifetime. With that, I squeezed my wife's hand and turned to leave. Victoria was still unwilling to give up Sincere without me. Are you truly happy? I didn't look back. Instead, I looked tenderly at my wife. Happy. Of course I'm happy. I've never been happier in all these years than when I'm with her. With one sentence, I negated everything about my past with Victoria. A few months later, I became a father. After that, I never heard from Victoria Bell again.